It was so nice, Kirtan. We could go on and on. Okay, and I'm so sorry. Today is actually you should be seeing Vrindavanath Prabhu, but Vrindavanath Prabhu had to attend a very important book marathon meeting with the temple president. So he'll be back with us maybe in half an hour. And by the time you'll have to be with me. If you're ready, Maharaj, is it okay if I can start sharing the screen? Thank you, Maharaj.
Yay.
To you, Maharaj.
Yay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo namaste Rishabhaya Sattvatam Vidorakastaya Muhaku Yoginam Nirasta Samadhi Sayena Radhasa Swadharmani Brahmani Ramsyate Namaha. Translation. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him who is the associate of the members of the Yadu dynasty and who is always a problem for the non-devotees. He is the supreme enjoyer of both the material and spiritual worlds, yet he enjoys his own abode in the spiritual sky. There is no one equal to him because his transcendental opulence is immeasurable. There are two sides of transcendental manifestations of the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. For the pure devotees, he is a constant companion, as in the case of becoming one of the family members of the Yadu dynasty, or his becoming the friend of Arjuna, or his becoming the associate neighbor of the inhabitants of Vrindavan, as the son of Yananda Yasoda, the friend of Sudam, Sridam, and Madhu Mangal, or the lover of the damsels of Raja, etc. That is part of his personal features. And by his impersonal feature, he expands the rays of the Brahmajyoti, which is limitless and all-pervasive. Part of this all-pervasive Brahmajyoti, which is compared to the sun rays, is covered by the darkness of Mahatattva. And this insignificant part is known as the material world. In this material world, there are innumerable universes like the one we experience, and in each of them there are hundreds and thousands of planets like the one we are inhabiting. The mundaners are more or less captivated by the unlimited expansion of the rays of the Lord, but the devotees are concerned more with his personal form, from which everything is emanating, Janmad Yasya Yataha. As the sun rays are concentrated in the sun disks, the Brahmajyoti is concentrated in Goloka Vrindavan, the topmost spiritual planet in the spiritual sky. The immeasurable spiritual sky is full of spiritual planets named Vaikunthas, far beyond the material sky. The mundaners have insufficient information of even the mundane sky, so what can they think of the spiritual sky? Therefore, the mundaners are always far, far away from him. Even if in the future they are able to manufacture some machine whose speed may accelerate it to the velocity of wind or mine, the mundaners will still be unable to imagine reaching the planets of the spiritual sky. So the Lord and his residential abode will always remain a myth or a mysterious problem, for the devotees of the Lord will always be available as an associate. In the spiritual sky, his opulence is immeasurable. The Lord resides in all the spiritual planets. the innumerable Vaikuntha planets by expanding his plenary portion along with his beloved liberated devotee associates. But the impersonalists who want to merge into the existence of the Lord are allowed as one of the spiritual sparks of the Ramajyoti. They have no qualifications of becoming associates of the Lord even in the Vaikuntha planets or in the supreme planet Goloka Vrindavan, as described in the Bhagavad Gita as Madhama, and here in this verse as Swadharma of the Lord. The Madhama or Swadharma is described in the Gita 15:6. Natad vasayate suryo nasankaho napavakaha agatvanan nivartante tadharma paramam mama. The Lord's Swadharma does not require any sunlight or moonlight or electricity or illumination. That dham or place is supreme, and therefore whoever goes there never comes back to this material world. The Vaikuntha planets and the Goloka Vrindavan planets are self-illuminating, and the rays scattered by those Swadharma of the Lord constitute the existence of the Brahmajyoti. As further confirmed in the Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishads 2.2.10, Katha Upanishads 2.2.15, and Svetashvatara Upanishads 6.14. Na tatra suryo bhatate na chandratarikam ne me vidutam batam kutam yang agnihe tam eva bhatam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasyam sarvam idam vibhati. In the Swadharma of the Lord, there is no need of sun, moon, or stars or for illumination. There is no need of electricity. So what to speak of ignited lamps? On the other hand, is because those planets are self-illuminating that all the effulgence has become possible. And whatever there is that is dazzling is due to the reflection of the Swadharma. One who is dazzled by the effulgence of the impersonal Brahmajyoti cannot know the personal transcendence. Therefore, in the Ishopanishads, verse number 15, it is prayed that the Lord shift his dazzling effulgence so that the devotee can see the real reality. It is thus spoken, Hiranmayena patrena savayabhihitam mukam tattvam pusam apavrinu satyadharmaya drishyate. O Lord, you are the maintainer of everything, both material and spiritual, and everything flourishes by your mercy. Your devotional service or bhakti yoga is the actual principle of religion, Satya Dharma, and I am engaged in that service, so kindly protect me by showing your real face. Please therefore remove the veil of your Ramajyoti rays so that I can see your form of eternal, blissful knowledge. Mirandasya Gena Jana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Ma Om Vishnu Padai Krishna Prasthai Bhutale Srimakti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pasyatnyade Sitarine Vanchakalpatarubhischa Vipa Sindhupe Vacha Titanam Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gauda Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So the mundaners are captivated by the glitter of this material world, and those who are a little more elevated by the glitter of his bodily effulgence. But the devotees, they're interested in the personal form of the Lord, beyond all of this glitter and effulgence. Why? Because the personal form of the Lord is the form of the Lord by which one can have loving relationships. What is the loving relationships in this world? It's the mundane attraction between male and female as it extends out to other living entities in different relationships. But it's always full of inebrities, problems, and ultimately time concludes the whole show. In the Brahman effulgence, one may feel a little bit happy by freeing oneself from the suffering of material existence, but one cannot experience loving relationships. Therefore, that place is also temporary. And then, as it says in the scriptures, Aruna Krichena Padam Padam Padantiyada, they fall down again into the mundane world. So, although they climb high on the spiritual platform to the Brahman realization, they can't stay there because they don't engage in any devotional service. They simply want to enjoy freedom from material suffering. But a devotee is happy to accept whatever comes by way of one's execution of devotional service, and they relish whatever difficulties they may have in executing devotional service. Just like in a relationship of two lovers, they will accept the difficulties that come with that relationship because the love is the goal ultimately. And that's what they're both trying to achieve and find happiness and satisfaction. But in the material world, it doesn't stand the test of time. But in the spiritual world, those in the spiritual realm of existence, that is within the realm of bhakti, devotional service to the Lord, that devotees can accept anything if it is meant to serve the Lord and engage in the devotional service of his devotees. The devotees are happy because they have no personal motivation. Their happiness is the pleasure of the Lord, the pleasure of the devotees. And so, therefore, they don't aspire for anything else. The mundaners, they may speculate about what it's like in the spiritual world, but because it's way beyond their imagination, they remain ignorant of the actual reality. Today is very fashionable that people want to describe God and the spiritual world according to their own limited sense of perception. But how can one describe something unlimited when they're limited unless they reach the level of unlimitedness? But for the mundaners, or the materialists, we might say, it's not possible. And for those a little bit above the materialists, it's like being attracted by the glittering lights of a billboard and thinking that what the billboard says is actually what is there. It's simply flashing lights. So in the same way, materialists have no entrance into the realm of happiness, which is the spiritual world. And there Krishna enjoys with his eternal parts and parcels. And he's inviting other souls also to enter into that realm of eternal existence. And Prabhupada used to say we can eat with Krishna, we can serve with Krishna, we can dance with Krishna. All the things that bring so-called happiness in this world is actually there in perfection in relationship to Krishna in the spiritual world. And even devotees experience that as they try to serve the Lord here on this realm of mundane existence. So to become a devotee and to worship the Lord is the highest and most complete form of transcendental knowledge. It's immeasurable. It's unlimited. Unlimited means it's always expanding. One of the features about transcendental knowledge is that the more you learn, the more you realize how little you actually know. Because the knowledge of Krishna, the knowledge of the spiritual world, the knowledge of devotional service is expansive, and it is also completely unlimited. Where mundane knowledge just takes one to a certain level of understanding, and then one reaches the conclusion, which is never satisfying anyway. But in order to somehow find some satisfaction in gaining knowledge, they're always speculating. Speculating means they're guessing. They're using their imperfect senses to try to understand something that is beyond the range of their senses, which is perfect. Not possible. So the devotees, they like to read or hear about Krishna in the spiritual world when he's dancing with his girlfriends in the rasa dance, which is the perfection of spiritual activity. Rasa dance is considered the culmination of the highest form of spiritual love in the spiritual world. Or when Krishna wants to play with his friends, as mentioned here, they're joking, they're eating food together, they're laughing, they're playing games, and they're all happy. And they don't care whether Krishna is God. If someone tells them that Krishna is God, they simply don't even listen. They don't care. The mundaners want to worship God, some of them anyway, but devotees don't even care, the residents in the spiritual world. They're with God every moment, and they're simply happy because he's such an attractive feature of their life that they don't care who he is. He's just wonderful. There's a whole chapter which describes Krishna as wonderful Krishna. Wonderful is a word that contains many of the other meanings of words that are similar to the word wonderful. Amazing, incredible, enjoyable. So many. Wonderful has a complete word definition that culminates or concludes all of the other statements of something that is ultimately amazing, enjoyable. So that's Krishna. He's wonderful. So those who get attached to Krishna and attached to Krishna's service, they're happy and they're on their way back to eternal life. For the mundaners, they're always speculating about who is God, what is it like. Prabhupada says here, how can they understand the spiritual world when they can't even understand the material world? Here it says that the material world has unlimited planets. So how many planets do they know? 9 or 10? That's the ones they can see by their, telescopes or their different instruments. But there are so many planets they can't see that are there in the universes. All of the universes have many planets. And most of them, from the perspective of the individual ability, are unseeable. They're there. Even stars, they see stars, but they all they see is some glittering light. But these are also planets. The stars are not suns. Sometimes the materialists, astronomers, and scientists, they say the stars are suns, but they're not. There's one sun in every universe, and there's innumerable planets, and these stars are also planets. They have a light coming off them that is so bright that it can be seen from trillions of miles away. So who can fathom God's creation and what to speak about beyond the creation into the manifestation of the spiritual realm, which is even more vast and more variegated. So for a devotee, Krishna is all they need. All they want is Krishna. And what comes along with Krishna is everything connected to Krishna. His names, his forms, his qualities, his pastimes, his pure devotees, his dham, everything is there. It's a lifetime full of experience and happiness, and then tattva deham purna janmani naiti mam neti sorjo. And when a devotee is finished in this material world, they don't take another birth in some species of life somewhere in the three realms of material existence. And they are transferred to the eternal abode to be with Krishna in different loving relationships. So, therefore, who can compare to the benefit of loving and serving Krishna in devotion? Srila Prabhupada, when he was starting the movement in 26 Second Avenue in New York, he had a group of fledgling personalities. They were of the hippie class, most of them, and a few others. And they still had many of their material habits. And sometimes when Prabhupada would be speaking, and then there would be a break, they would go out and smoke a cigarette and come back in. And Prabhupada would say, don't let that little thing, referring to cigarettes, stand between you and Krishna. Such an insignificant thing which will block our ability to appreciate and to engage in loving devotional service. So we have many attachments in this material world. And these things are small, they're insignificant. We look back in our life and we see how we were attached to so many little things, and now we're no longer attached to little things, we're attached to bigger things. So we get attached to something in this material world and think we can't give it up. Like I know one person, he can't stop eating chocolate. He says, I gotta have my chocolate. And then he gives it up for some time. He feels good about it. And then again, back to eating chocolate again. So these things which require little austerity, as Prabhupada said, we're not asking much. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling. These are the no's. Chant Hare Krishna, and you have situated yourself in the eternal mood of loving devotional service. Take only food offered to the Lord Krishna Prasadam. These things are small, but due to our association with material energy, we develop certain attachments to that material energy. And we think these things are important. It's going to give us some satisfaction. We can't sleep at night if we don't have them. So, but they're small. They say that if you get a higher taste, you can give up the lower taste. And Krishna consciousness is the higher taste. That's how is it possible that their devotees can practice Krishna consciousness for 30, 40, 50 years and more, and simply find satisfaction in that only. If they're allured by something from the material world, they look at it as some insignificant botheration and then just reject it and move on. Sometimes the devotees are offered big positions in the material world. Sometimes they're offered great amount of money in the material world. And they think, compared to Krishna, this is insignificant, has no attraction. Sometimes they use these things if they're forced to serve the Lord, but ultimately they're not interested in anything material because they know it's just a botheration and it takes the time and energy and attention away from Krishna. And devotees want to use every moment to serve the Lord, every opportunity to hear about the Lord. And when they hear sufficiently, they also want to speak about the Lord and inspire others in that same way to take up devotional service to the Lord. The devotees are on another level. The karmis are struggling to find some happiness with sense gratification, which includes the mind. The jnanis are working hard with austerities, penances, trying forms of meditation so they can get free from material suffering. The yogis, they want to manipulate the material energy by becoming materially powerful through various types of mystic processes. But devotees are not interested in any of that stuff. They're simply interested in serving Krishna. And when they see the beautiful form of the Lord in his deity form, or even when they see a beautiful form of Radha and Krishna in some painting, their hearts melt in happiness, and they think of Krishna in a loving way. Now this is Krishna consciousness, so satisfying, so complete, and comparatively speaking, there is no comparison. So this is Krishna consciousness, and the spiritual world, we can't even imagine what's there in the spiritual world. When we say the spiritual world is eternal, full of knowledge and unlimited happiness, we don't really describe it. We simply give some indication of the elements that are there, but the experience is hardly there. But we can understand that that experience is available and is the birthright of all living entities to experience the realm of eternality, where there's no birth, no death, no taxes, no political elections, no no mundane movies, no chocolate. Of course, there might be chocolate there also, but it's good chocolate. It's transcendental chocolate. So if you're attached to eating chocolate, you can get it in the spiritual world where it's free from all reactions of negativity. So this is a devotee's life is centered around them. And they like to hear about Krishna when he plays with his friends, when he is dancing with his girlfriends, when he's stealing butter and his mother ties him up, or when he's doing any of his activities in the spiritual world which give unlimited pleasure to his devotee. So this is Krishna consciousness, and this is what Srila Prabhupada has given us as part of his connection with the eternal mood of devotional service coming from Krishna himself in disciplic succession. The gift that Srila Prabhupada has bestowed upon the world is immeasurable, uncountable, and incomparable. And this is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya coming through his pure representative to benedict all living entities who are suffering in this material world. Why are we suffering? Why? Because we don't know Krishna, or we don't take enough time, energy, and facility to understand how to get out of that suffering by engaging in spiritual life, hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the Lord in different ways. This is Krishna conscious. Devotees don't even like to sleep because they know it's a waste of time. They could be using that time for Krishna conscious activities. The mundaners, they can hear about everything that we are speaking about. They can read books, but they can't understand it, or they can speculate and give their own wrong opinions about what it is and compare it to something material, which it's not. And therefore, they're always in a position of ignorance. But the devotees feel sorry for them, so they try to awaken them by transcendental knowledge to somehow help them understand that there is a realm way beyond this physical realm. It's understood that what you see in this material world is a reflection of the reality. As you hold a mirror in front of an object, the mirror will have the same object as the object in front of it. But in the mirror, there is no object. It's just a reflection. But so in the material world, all of the situations in the material world are a reflection of what's in the spiritual world. Therefore, there's no substance in the material world. It's simply an illusion, or it's the dance of shadows. That's more or less what it is. It's simply a dance of shadows. And the shadow is not the real person, but the real person does exist because the shadow is a reflection of that. So because there are relationships in this world, they're the real relationships, just like we have relationships with father, mother, children, friends, and people in general. So in the spiritual world, the actual pure relationship in these same categories are there. You can be the father or mother of Krishna. You can be the friend of Krishna. You can be the lover of Krishna. You can enjoy Krishna in different manifestations of himself as he performs his activity, attracting all of the souls towards him. He's just like a magnet attracts iron filings automatically. Our attraction for Krishna is natural and powerful and immediate. But because the iron filings sometimes they're covered with rust, the magnetic force is no longer working. So because we are rusty or lusty, lusty is more like is the rust of the material world. We cannot experience that natural attraction of Krishna. But Cheto Darpana Marjanam, getting rid of the contamination, cleaning up our act, and getting back to pure consciousness, one again experiences the happiness that they are so eager to experience. That is the happiness of enjoying with Krishna, either in the mundane world through devotional service, or in the spiritual world where it becomes complete and eternal. So the great souls are mercy manifestations of Krishna. They are forcing us in a very sweet way to wake up from this illusion of material happiness. Jeev Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole, Gauta Nidra Jayomaya, Pisachita Kole. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, hey, you're sleeping. But where are you sleeping? On the lap of a witch. And a witch, she's just going to suck your blood and ultimately destroy you. So in the material world, people work so hard, struggle to get something. And then after some time, they either can't enjoy it or they lose it. They look for something else. And then it all culminates in death. And prior to that, there is old age and so much suffering. So this is the material world. So we should understand that there's nothing that in this material world that will give us anything that will give satisfaction and happiness except Krishna and devotional service. And when that becomes perfect, then, as we mentioned, Taktva Deham Purna Janmani Naitim Mameti Surjuna, you attain your proper inheritance. What is that inheritance? The spiritual world, eternal life with Krishna. It's available. Okay, we can stop there.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. You have explained the difference between the material and spiritual world so nicely and in so much in detail. Also covering the beautiful pastimes of Krishna and his form, beautiful form and importance of devotional service. So thank you so much, Maharaj. Devotees, if you have any questions, comments, realizations, please unmute yourself and ask. If you can't type, then please type. If you can't speak, then please type it in the chat box. And it'll be nice to have your cameras on if you can, please. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Questions can range beyond the subject matter that was discussed today.
Yes. Thank you, Maharaj. So, Maharaj, I've got a question about the spiritual world and material world, and also in chapter 15 when he says that material world is the reflection of the spiritual world. Exactly same it is. So, how when we have the tendency to get attached to this material world, why we don't have the tendency to attach to the spiritual world? Like if it's exactly same, when we hear the qualities of the spiritual world, is it because we can't see it, we can't visualize it, and we don't have the intelligence to understand it, that how beautiful or how big it is, and what is the potency of the spiritual world, to go back to it basically?
Yeah, there's an old saying in the material world, seeing is believing. So they think they're seeing what is here in the material world, but they're not seeing completely or properly. Therefore, oh yeah, there's this object of my sense satisfaction. It's in front of me. Therefore, I should go and experience it. But when we talk about the spiritual world, they think, well, you're just giving some imagination or some post-dated check. But we can experience the happiness in Krishna consciousness through the process of bhakti. So we get some of that eternal happiness even now while we're in the material world through devotional service. Like we have kirtan, devotees become happy. They jump, they sing, they forget all about their difficulties, and they're absorbed in hearing the glories of the Lord, chanting the glories of the Lord. We read about Krishna and different manifestations of his pastimes, his qualities, his activities. Gives pleasure, satisfaction to the mind. It awakens one's attraction for Krishna. So even in the material world, we can experience that through the process of bhakti, which is the path towards the spiritual world. But the mundaners, they're too busy with things that they think are important. They're always trying to discover new ways to enjoy happiness. Or they come up with some crazy inventions saying this will make life easier. Just like this stupid thing that they've come up with, this artificial intelligence. The robots, they think that robots can replace people, and you can have a robot because you can't get along with people, and at least you can get along with the robot. But how much love can you give to the robot? How much can he give back to you? So these are examples of frustration in material life. That's all. People who think these are improvements, are an illusion.
So basically, if someone is attached to Krishna, then definitely they are, meant to get to the spiritual world. So visualization of spiritual world is not so important than Guru Maharaj, than focusing on our devotional service and having attachment to Krishna.
The same thing.
Okay.
No different. You may want to go to a place, but you have to follow the route that leads to the place.
Mm.
But the route and the place are different in the material sense. In the spiritual sense, the route also indicates the quality of the place.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Aarti Mataji, please go ahead, and I will pass on the hosting to Vrindavan Nath Prabhu. He has joined back. Thank you so much, everyone, for bearing with me. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Dandat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna to all the devotees. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you, Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj, my question is, we make our plan that this time I will do chanting, this time I will hear some lectures, or this time I will read something. So on the same time, something will happen that I'm not able to do that. But when I'm doing the stupid things, like I'm doing the mundane activities, nobody will disturb. But the time I decide, like, okay, this is the time I'm going to hear something while cooking, at the same time something will happen that I'm not able to do it. Is How should I take this? Is it a test from Maya or Krishna?
You can see it that way. You can see it as simply that because you're starting to get serious, Maya is just trying to test you to see how serious you are. So there'll be sometimes some interference, some obstacles, some allurement away from the activity. But if you simply go on with your activity and ignore all of these distractions, then after a while, these distractions will become less and eventually be gone. One of the qualities of Krishna consciousness is determination. Enthusiasm is the foremost quality. One has to be enthusiastic for the activities of devotional service. But then again, determination keeps you focused on the activity despite the apparent or possible distractions that may come. And patience is the next thing, where the results of the activity may not come immediately, but if one continues, then eventually the soul is becoming purified, and then gradually it's experiencing its own happiness. So don't get discouraged. Continue.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. It's happening to me from past, I think, 3-4 years. I'm just trying and trying, and the time when I'm very energetic, like, okay, I am going to do it, and the same time something will happen. It's very sure somebody will come, somebody will disturb me, somebody will create some scene that I have to quit and start doing the activities what they want.
Are you getting devotee association?
At home, no, Guru Maharaj. My husband is not Krishna conscious, and son is on a spectrum. So there is only one car, so I'm not able to go to temple.
I think that's the problem. You need more association with devotees. And then you'll find things will become more easier and natural. You're in an environment which is not so favorable. And you're working against that unfavorable environment to create something favorable. You need to be in a favorable environment and get nourished by that favorable environment. And then when you find yourself in an unfavorable environment, it becomes more natural to somehow or other deal with the, we might say, obstacles that may appear. So I would say, knowing you and your progress in devotional service, you need association. Because Srila Prabhupada emphasized that as the essence of our spiritual practice. when he was asked what is the most important thing, he said there's three most important things in devotional service that devotees should adopt. He said association, association, association. He wanted to make a point that sadhu sangha is the foundation by which devotional service springs and develops. So make some plans to get association.
Thank you so
And
much,
when you
Guru
do
Maharaj.
it, you'll see your struggles will become less and you'll become more happy, and you'll also develop relationships with other devotees, which are also important in our progress of devotional service. So where
Yes.
are you? You're in Detroit area, right?
In Farmington, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah. Buy a ticket to Mumbai and come to our retreat. It starts on December 1st. Just tell everyone you'll be back in a couple weeks, and you'll have a nice experience, an amazing experience, not only from the environment, but from all the wonderful devotees and the devotional activities. You'll meet so many nice devotees, and you'll experience something that you have never experienced before, at least that you can remember. So buy a ticket and come, and I'll arrange make sure you get a place to stay when you get here. Take a vacation from Maya.
So, my Guru Maharaj, I try my best, but I'm totally dependent on my husband, so he has to buy the tickets. I don't think he will do it for me, like in a short notice. He just needs he will be had so many excuses that the tickets are so expensive. You are telling me now, you should tell me earlier in a short notice. How is it possible? So there
All
will be
right, then come to our retreat in France in the first week of April.
yes, there's that I can think about, Guru Maharaj, that I can convince my husband about France.
Yeah, that one I think would. If you come, you'll also have the same experience as I described. You need association. No one can live in devotional service without association. It's not possible. Unless you're on the highest spiritual platform and you can associate with Krishna directly at every moment. But we shouldn't assume we're on that platform. Therefore, we need sadhu sangha, association with devotees. You can also come in May to the Orlando program in Orlando, Florida, the Sadhu Sangha, 3 days of kirtan. That's also available. That's
Yes,
a powerful program. That's not far. You can take a small plane flight to that. That's in the last weekend of May. Do whatever you can, even while you're still in the area of Farmington Hills. Yeah, I mean, go to the temple.
I go every Saturday, Guru Maharaj. Every Saturday I go to temple. There is a class for special kids in temple. So this I got a reason. At least I got one reason to go to temple, and nobody stops me going there because it's Kanayas. And Sunday I always want to go, but uh, it's all my fault, Guru Maharaj. I'm not determined.
Well, I'm trying to inspire you in your determination. No one can make progress in spiritual life unless they develop this mood of keeping oneself determined for the activities of devotional service. Because Maya, the illusionary energy, and our own previous attachments will pull us away from that. So we have to be determined, and that determination comes by association with devotees.
I will come to Florida, Guru Maharaj, Orlando. That is very close. It's not even another country, the same country.
Yeah,
And
but that's a long way off. That's May. That's the end of May. Come at the beginning of April 9th through the 13th.
in France, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, that will be more complete. In Sadhu Sangha, you get nice kirtans and there's a class every day, but in France, you'll meet devotees, you can talk to them, you can experience kirtan, there will be prasadam. It's a farm community, there's nice residents to find, nice, comfortable residence there. And there's also nice lectures. Bhuta Bhavana from London will be coming, will be speaking on a very important scripture called Manasiksha, one of the most powerful philosophical scriptures within the Vaishnav culture. And there'll be other things, other activities also. You can also bring your husband and your son along. They will have a nice experience also.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I will try to convince my husband. I know he's not very interested in Krishna conscious, but I will tell him in another way that this is France and you can enjoy there, and maybe he will get little attraction of coming there.
Yeah, I'm just making points on the big programs, but in the meantime, try to find more and more opportunities to associate.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I will try to do my best with Kanhaiya.
You are a devotee and you have many good qualities, but you're not able to experience these things because you're limited in your association with the process and with devotees. It's very important. They say if you want to achieve something, you have to associate with those who have the same goals in mind.
Guru Maharaj.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for encouraging me and for the class. Guru Maharaj, this morning class is really kind of making my day when I associate the devotees
Good.
and I do your classes, attend your classes. It really makes my day and I'm happy all day.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your nice letter saying that when we changed the time, you were so happy.
Yes, Guruji, I'm very happy with the timings. And if it's like very early, it's 5 a.m., I'm also good with the 5 a.m. also. The more early, I'm so good, Gurudev. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mohan Nasani Radha has something to say. Where are you?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. May I have an announcement, please?
Yeah, it has to be positive, not negative.
It is.
Okay.
I have an announcement that finally we decided to marry, and it will be happening on 14th of February.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Devotees will give you blessings that your marriage will become the opportunity for full Krishna consciousness.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji. Congratulations. You got Maharaj blessings. So it's very, like, the day is very unique, 14th February, which is Valentine's Day as per material calendar. But so Hare Krishna Maharaj.
What is the 14th February? It's what?
Maharaj, in the material world, there are different days people celebrate. And this is like, in the material terms, it's a Valentine Day. People celebrate with that day.
Valentine's Day, yeah.
So
Festival of love.
If you go to February 10th, then you'll get more love. That's Nityananda's appearance day, Lord Nityananda's.
Let's see what the priest will tell us, because we need to talk to him about the exact day and time. So it may vary still, the Vedic marriage.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sorry for joining a bit late, Maharaj, but I have one question. There is one question from Rishabh Prabhu in the chat. He's asking question related to Bhagavad Gita. I hope that's okay, Maharaj, to ask question in relation to Bhagavad Gita. So his question is that, Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev, I have one Bhagavad Gita related question as I am studying deeply. There is one part of the purport. This is chapter 13, verse 5. The Vedanta Sutra also describes the Supreme by saying Ananda Mayo Bhyasat. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is by nature full of joy. To enjoy his transcendental bliss, he expands into Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, and Annamaya. His question is, can you explain how Krishna enjoy his spiritual bliss by expanding in this way, if possible?
What's the question again? Read it.
How Krishna enjoy his spiritual bliss by expanding in this way, if possible?
Everything he does is blissful for him. He's killing demons. If he's talking to his wives in Dwarka, it's all blissful for him. I mean, he is Ananda Chinmaya Ras, and he's full of happiness at all times. But his happiness expands in different activities that he performs. So these Anandamoyas are different levels of consciousness, that's all. But they usually refer to the conditioned souls as they go through different levels of consciousness all the way up to Anandamoya. There is, what is it? There is, what's the first one again? Anamoya.
Yeah.
Anamoya, and then what's the second one?
Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, Annamaya.
Yeah, Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya.
Jnanamaya.
Vijnanamaya is higher than Jnanamaya. And Anandamaya, it's just levels of consciousness, that's all. Perception of reality is defined in these different categories. And Anamaya is the lowest. That refers to babies, usually. Describe. To enjoy his transcendent, he expands into Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya, Jnanamaya, and Anamaya. In the field of activities, the living entity is considered to be an enjoyer, and different from him is the Anandamaya. That means that if the living entity decides to enjoy in dovetailing himself with Anandamaya, then he becomes perfect. This is the real picture of the Supreme Lord as the supreme knower of the field, the living entity as the subordinate knower, and the nature of the field of activities. One has to search out for this truth in Vedanta Sutra or Brahma Sutras. Yeah. So this describes, the field of activities, the knower of the fields, and the enjoyer of the fields. He's the knower of the field. We are the enjoyer of the field, and the field of activity is the body. So these things these different mayas are different levels of bodily consciousness, all the way up to spiritual consciousness, which is Anandamaya. So it says here, if the living entity decides to enjoy in dovetailing himself with Anandamaya, then he becomes perfect. Anandamaya is pure devotional service.
Suresha Prabhu is saying thank you. I think he's okay with the answers. Thank you, Maharaj. Also request devotees, I'm sure Mataji mentioned earlier, but if you can please switch on your video. It's a really good way to interact with Maharaj. You get the direct blessings in that way.
Yeah, I have actually, I don't have much time left. I only have about 2 or 3 minutes left before I have to go to my next service. So,
Sure, Maharaj. So maybe
if you have a
any
quick
last question? Any last questions? Any comments, realization? If there is no question, Maharaj, as of now, but I want to share my realization, like what you mentioned, that association, and association, the three critical pillars for devotional service, and completely agree. Like many times we are sometimes down because of Maya and others, but devotee association brings us back to the right track with full motivation. So this is really, really and that feels like all determinations, motivations, everything comes with devotee association. So it's really, really so important pillar. Thank you, Maharaj.
Jai. So, come to Govardhan retreat. We're still inviting everyone. Somadatri is eager to get here. Okay, so thank you. And we'll see you tomorrow, Monday, for continuation of Transcendental Srimad Bhagavatam.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you, Maharaj, for your association and nectar words.
Hari
Srila
Hari.
Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Gaur Premanandi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Very
much.
much.